You should be dead.
This is a forensic toe tag. It was given to me by a nurse at Brussels airport because I passed out and then flatlined. She said, "You suits usually arrive dead, and this is a rare chance I get to tell you what I think. And what I think is you should change your life." And I think I'm not alone. I think that lots of people around the world are told, you need to chill out. And then they go, yeah, I know. I need to stop working so hard. I need to. But they're all thinking about building a better future for their children. They're all thinking about what everyone thinks of them. And then it builds and builds and builds and builds. Stress nearly killed me. You know, I was fighting for my life. And I wanted to take my background in music and in computer science and build tools that would help people connect with their bodies and understand stress better. Back then, I used to hang out in this IRC channel. An argument broke out about artificial intelligence and music. And there was this guy who just kept coming back at me with constant, better arguments than everybody else. I was just like, whoa, this guy is something else. Until at some point I realized this guy is it.
He told me, okay, I want to pay you. And I said, no way.
He said, no. He said, no, you can't hire me. We need to work together and come at it together. So the first thing we built was a prototype that turned brainwaves into music. And all we wanted was to give you a visual and a sonic feedback on whether you were managing to focus and calm down.
We were trying to find out if our idea was any good, because we didn't know. We just made it.
And I went to a conference in San Francisco and I thought, this is an opportunity to pitch to everybody and their parent. You know, like I'm gonna pitch to everybody. But this is one guy I really wanted to pitch to, and I knew he wouldn't give me the time.
I was actually pretty busy at the time, but this gentleman was absolutely relentless.
And I thought, well, fine. I'm just gonna sit outside his door and email him every like half an hour.
I gave him 15 minutes, and I told him that he could have 15 minutes.
He said, if you can get here by 2 p.m., I'll give you 15 minutes, right? But by then I'd been sitting outside for 6 hours, so I thought, fine, yeah, I can get there by 2 p.m.
So he came into my office, sat down, he pulled out this really geeky headset.
And I put that on, and I was like fishing for my earlobe and trying to clip it on. And
it was just the weirdest, most geeky, interesting piece of technology I'd seen.
I turned it on, and suddenly it was, making sound. It's like, this is making sound on my brainwaves. And then his reaction changed a little.
I saw the opportunity there, but definitely not the way he was doing it. And he was focusing on the wrong organ. My very specific challenge to David was take the iPhone, hack the optical sensor, the camera, and by putting your finger on it, I want to see the waveform of my heart on the screen, the beats, the variances, and turn them into music.
I mean, I was feeling amazing because I just thought, okay, this is it. It's a shift. It's a pivot, right? And pivots are good because it means someone is interested. On my way down the stairs, I found Davide and I said,
okay, I met this guy, this incredible guy. He wants us to build music using the heart.
By the time I hung up the phone, he was already working on it. 6 hours later, he'd cracked it. He sent me this email that just read, guess what this is? And it was a picture of a waveform. I was in shock, I was thinking, he can't have done it already. This is impossible. It's impossible.
That was easy, because you just need to watch the color of your finger over time, and every time the blood flows into your finger, it will become a little bit darker.
I had to walk for a while, because I couldn't believe what we just done. And I was standing on that pier thinking, this feels so different than everything else we've done.
David sent me an application from London. And I put my finger on the back of the camera. I could see the waveform of my heart, and he sonified my heartbeat through a bass. And for the first time, I listened to the bass kick of my heart. Just that was moving. And then he turned it into jungle UK house music. And I had no reaction but to dance. I would jump for joy, and as I jumped for joy, the heart rate accelerated. And I watched it. And the music accelerated, and the bass accelerated. That was the moment. I had to be a part of it.
So now we had this thing, and it was more engaging than just looking at a heart pulse, you know? But it looked like a science experiment. So we needed somebody who could make it compelling, not just to look at, but compelling to use.
If it's not simple, if it's not beautiful, if people don't use it frequently over time, it doesn't matter. And Sandeep's shop specializes in that. They gamify some of the most incredible apps out there.
So when we go into the world, I was actually driving. He called me and left a very frantic, charismatic message. Like, yo, you gotta call me back as soon as you can. I got this thing that's gonna change the world. Call me back. Bye.
When I brought it to Sandeep and I showed him what it could do, he didn't even think about it. He just said, thank you, and let's do this.
I asked my oldest son if he wanted to hear his heartbeat. And he looked at me really confused, and I put it against his finger. And you saw this moment of realization. For someone who's never even thought about or been conscious of the fact that they have a heartbeat, this moment of realization where he feels it beating, and then this beautiful music starts playing. And that sense of wonder that I saw immediately is something I want to replicate over and over again.
For so long, we've had technology that we react to. And for the first time, we're moving into an era where technology will be able to understand how we feel. And once that's possible, adaptive media becomes possible. It's going to take the form of one day your fridge being able to create recipes for you by knowing blood sugar levels in your house for your family. Your thermostat being able to adjust by knowing the efficiency of your sleep the night before.
BioBeats is the beginning. It's an engine that's at the beginning of that revolution.
Adaptive media shouldn't just know the music you like. Imagine if you could have a playlist that gets built in real time, but that listens to the way your body is reacting. Imagine a dancer being able to show you her emotional state as part of her work, dancing to music that's created out of biometrics from her own body, but also her emotional state. If she could show you all that, right? If the dance itself, if the choreography emerged out of the biometrics and the emotional intelligence behind her, it would be a completely different sort of act.
Imagine having a large crowd. Let's say they get a push notification, and it's time for the next set to start by this incredible DJ that's about to go on stage. But step one is put your fingers on your phone. And so the collective pulse of the crowd now gets pushed to the DJ booth, and the DJ now uses this data to start his set. And for the first time ever, you have a completely unique musical experience.
I love doing this because I believe we can change people's lives.
The information contained in the beats of our heart has the power to change everything.